Last month, Benoit David went from cover band obscurity to leading and touring with the world-famous group known for songs like Owner of a Lonely Heart and I've Seen All Good People. After the group's longtime lead singer John Anderson suffered respiratory problems, Yes was going to cancel its 40th anniversary tour, but instead they came across Benoit David. And the Yes Tour was back on. To find out how this all happened, I'm joined by Benoit David himself, live in Studio Q. Hello, sir.
Hello.
Very good to have you here.
Good to be here.
So walk me through this here. First of all, when did you get started singing in Yes tribute bands in Quebec?
Oh, it all started quite a little while ago. First experience was 1994.
1994. And so you, as a kid, were you a Yes fan?
To be honest with you, I would listen to the Yes music that played on the radio at the time. What everybody kind of knows, Owner of a Lonely Heart, Roundabout, All Good People, that sort of thing.
And why did you start playing in a tribute? You have this remarkable John Anderson type voice. Is that part of why you started playing in Yes cover bands or tribute
that's
bands?
the reason right there. Yeah, one of my buddies, fellow musicians I used to play music with, René Ferron, was always telling me, man, you should sing Yes. You should sing Yes music. You got the voice for it. And I said, yeah, sure. But then he was working in a sound equipment rental place, and some guy walks in one day and says, well, I got guys looking to put together a Yes tribute band. You know any musicians that would be good for that? And he says, well, I sure have a singer for you. Mm-hmm. And that's how it started.
So this is 1994. This is in Montreal.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess to then go on and play in a Yes tribute band, you have to get really involved in not just the music, but the whole lore. There's a real community around Yes, the cult fans and everything. So over the course of the next decade or so, I would imagine you got really involved in that.
To a certain point, what I do is sing. And, of course, at the moment where I got involved in this, I was given, different albums to listen to. Close to the Edge, the Yes album, Fragile, that sort of thing. Tales from Topographic Ocean. Wow. That's great music, I thought to myself. And there was... And complicated music as well. So there was like something there for me. So I really enjoyed listening to it and learning the songs. And I had a great time doing that.
So then there's this this video ends up on YouTube of your tribute band, Close to the Edge. Do you remember where that was shot?
Yes, I think I do. It was shot at La Place d'à Côté in Montreal. A small venue. There was about 250 people there. The room capacity is about 150, mind you. I think that's where the video comes from.
And this is where the bassist of Yes, Chris Squire, ends up seeing you on YouTube, right? Now, were you aware that John Anderson was having vocal difficulties earlier in the year?
Yes, it was a big thing because Yes was planned to play Quebec City for the 400th anniversary of Foundation of Quebec, and they had to cancel the date. So, of course, the news went out, and we're all aware of that.
And by the way, in Quebec, they love... You love art rock, right? I mean,
yes.
Somebody like Yes, huge still. It was huge, and so it makes sense that a tribute band comes out of it. So then they think they're going to have to cancel the tour, but then Chris Squire comes across this video of you singing Yes tunes. How did you first find out that members of Yes were watching you and even remotely considering you joining the band?
Well, that's a great story. You see, Richard Lantier, he's the manager of our tribute band, Close to the Edge, and he's the bass player as well in the band. And he collects a lot of things about Yes. He's a really, really true fan. And along with Philippe Charmetan, the guitar player who founded the group in 94. He had ordered a reissue of an album that Chris Squire had done in the 70s. And the order was taken care of by Chris Squire himself and his wife Scotty from their home in England. And at one point, Scotty calls Richard and, just to inquire about the order and tell him that everything's underway and finalize the details. And Richard says, well, we have a pretty good tribute band. You might want to take a look at that. Go on our website, ctte.net, as in Close to the Edge. And he said, yeah, I'll do that. And so he did. And
So when was that?
that was May of
Okay,
this year. And and he writes on our site, says, man, you guys are really excellent. I enjoyed
Chris
this a
Squire
lot."
writes
Yeah,
on your
Chris
site.
Squire.
Did you guys know? Did you think it was a joke, or did you know it was the
No,
real Chris
absolute-
Squire?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Because Richard had spoken to him over the phone.
right.
So, and I think he said at the time, he says, "You guys are freakily like us," and he said, "I'm sending this to the other band members.
Yeah.
We really like this." And it so happened that only a couple of weeks later, John went sick.
And so, how did you get the phone call, or how did you find out that they were interested in you as the new Yes singer?
Well, one day I was actually working. I have a small mobile service that I operate where I go to marinas and garages to fix boat and car interiors, that sort of thing. And I was actually on the lake working on a boat fixing seats, and the phone rings and it's Chris Squire. He's saying, "Yeah, Chris Squire here is speaking." I thought I was being pranked. I was looking all over for cameras.
Yeah.
But it was Chris Squire, and he said, you probably heard the news. We're out of a singer. I said, yeah, I heard the news. He says, well, we were wondering if if you'd be interested into coming to tour with us.
And so, you're on a boat in a lake when you get this phone call?
Yes, I almost fell in the water.
So how did he get your number?
He got it from Richard.
Okay.
Because he had spoken with Richard
Right.
before, and they had a couple of chats.
And so, what's your reaction when Chris Squire says this to you?
Well, the first reaction, I thought I was being pranked. I thought somebody was playing a joke on
Yeah.
me. I said, well, probably somebody say, I'll put my best English accent on and I'll give Benoit a call and prank him. But that was my first reaction. But right past that, I was kind of mixed up because it's a great thing that could happen to somebody, but it's a big order at the
Yes.
same time.
So, did you go for an audition? Is that how it worked? Or
Yeah, it all started with an audition.
where did they fly you to LA?
Yes,
okay.
exactly. I went to LA, and so we played music together. But it always seemed like their mind was made up for some reason. They felt very confident.
So tell me about
this.
walking into that room, the rehearsal space. You got Steve Howe there, you got Chris Squire there. You're about to sing with Yes, the band that you've been playing in tribute to for 14 years, right around Montreal. What was that feeling like?
Oh, surreal. I was so well welcomed. These guys are really, really nice. I never felt like the newcomer or Cinderella or something like that. They were very welcoming and warm. It was a great experience. I'll remember it my whole life.
And as a singer, because you've got this voice already that sounds like John Anderson, and you've been playing these songs for a while, you've been singing these songs. Did it come naturally? Did it feel easy to sing along with when you're actually there with Yes, the band, or were you worried that you're going to hit notes or not sound as good as you hoped or anything?
I'm very confident about my voice and the way it sounds for that music. I don't think there's many ways to sing that music. When you hit the notes, it just sounds that way. So it went really, really well. And they were very confident in my capability to do the job. And I felt that right from the start.
So when they tell you that did they tell you at the audition that you're in, or did they call you later?
to be quite frank with you,
Please be frank.
nobody ever said, "Okay, you're in."
They didn't.
No, it just felt like that from the start.
Really?
Yeah,
So they just start making plans.
yeah.
So you leave this audition or this the first experience. I just want to know. I'm curious. So who's the first person you talked to? Did
The
you
first
call
person
somebody?
I
Or
talked
were you
to,
freaking out?
well, obviously was Chris, who called me on the phone, and then a couple of days later it was Steve.
No, I mean your friends. Who's the first person?
my
when,
friends.
when you come out of the Yes experience and you think now you're getting the idea that you're actually in the band.
Mm-hmm.
Who was your first phone call?
Well, my friend and band leader Richard Lantier.
Yeah.
Of course, I spoke with him like several times every day. He helped me through the process, and he actually came with me in LA.
I'll bet he
to
did.
meet with the guys. I mean, he deserved that. I
But
mean, he put the thing together, and he's the true fan.
Well, it must be a bit bittersweet for him that he's not in the band, right?
One of
Replacing
his
Chris Squire on bass, right?
One of his friends told him the funniest thing. He said, "Hey, Richard, how do you feel to be replaced by Chris Squire?" that's so funny.
Last month you were singing before last month I should say you were singing in several Yes, but this just happened, by the way, for people listening. I mean, this is a very new story. You've said you aren't an impersonator with your tribute band, Close to the Edge. You didn't try to clone the real band, rather you aim to quote unquote capture the essence of their live shows.
Yes.
What's the difference?
Well, the difference is I don't believe into reproducing something or just to try to make something the same. It's not like me to do that. I would much rather integrate the music, make it my own, and then let it out. That's the way I like to do things. In that way, I think it's. I think for the people that listen, you get the impression that they get the impression that I'm really into it, which is the case.
Is there a difference now? I mean, being a tribute band is one thing where you can potentially have your own personality. How do you approach now being in Yes, in front of Yes fans, playing arenas, you're playing big venues, starting tomorrow night? You know that people are going to be coming out with certain expectations, judging you, and I guess you have the choice to try and do what John Anderson does or to try and be your own guy. How are you approaching this?
Well, the music being what it is induces a part of the results, and being myself is really what I want to do. And this is what Chris, Alan, and Steve want me to do as well. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to just be myself, and hopefully the fans will like it.
What happens? How are you going to deal with the fans who who don't like it or who have trouble? You know that people develop attachments to certain band members. John Anderson is iconic. He's
Absolutely.
So
He's fantastic.
So have you developed a thick skin that you're heading into this with in case there's some fans who aren't, no matter what you do, aren't going to be happy that John Anderson isn't there?
Well, I don't have a thick skin, and I don't think I need to, because it's not personal. What I do is what I do, and anybody's allowed to like it or dislike it. I mean, the original band members of Yes like it. That's a pretty good start.
And the original band members have been pretty active in actually saying, we want fans to accept Benoit David. This is, we don't want anybody to be heckling or having issues with this. They've been quite publicly supportive of you in a really big way. They obviously do believe in you. At the same time, John Anderson has said he's disappointed, or there was rumors that he wasn't happy about this. Have you spoken to him, and have you heard what his feelings are about this?
I didn't speak with John. John didn't say anything bad against me. He didn't say that I didn't have a nice voice or that I couldn't do the job or anything like that. So it's all okay with me.
It doesn't bother you that he's not happy with the band reforming with a different singer?
Well, I'm replacing John for the time being. Hopefully John gets better, and can come back and what and do what they do together. That's the plan, and my being there and doing this tour will probably allow him to take the time and the rest that he needs to come back in full force. That's what we're all hoping for.
Benoit, you've been rehearsing now with the guys in Yes.
Yes.
Well, you're in Yes. You're with your bandmates, ready for this tour. What's been the biggest surprise to you as you've worked with these guys who, up until a couple of months ago, you didn't know personally, let alone being guys that you idolized?
What would be the biggest surprise? The biggest surprise is that these people would be so simple and just nice and friendly, and just, I mean, you'd expect rock stars to have an attitude or something, but they're so nice. I mean, I'm like part of the gang. I love that. That's great.
You feel ready for tomorrow night?
I do.
That's great, man. That's great. Did you ever think, I mean, this reminds me of the movie, Rockstar with Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah.
I mean, and there's examples of this. I mean, this Judas Priest had a tribute singer become their lead singer. Journey discovered their new vocalist on YouTube as well. Did you ever think that this, did you ever have any kind of inkling that something like this would ever happen for you?
No, I wouldn't have dreamt of anything like this. No, it's a total surprise.
When you're up on stage tomorrow night in Hamilton with Yes, singing a song, the first song, do you know what you're opening with yet?
You know what? Not exactly sure. There's
Okay.
a couple of possibilities.
Okay. In song one, what are you going to be thinking while you sing?
I'm going to be thinking, hey, this is it. Wow.
Montreal boy done good. It's a pleasure to meet you. You're great.
It's a
And
pleasure.
very, very
Thank
nice
you.
guy. Best of luck with the Yes tour, and we'll
Thanks.
look out for you. Benoit David, Montreal tribute artist, who'll be the lead singer with the band Yes on their In the Present tour, which kicks off tomorrow in Hamilton at Hamilton Place Theatre. And he's been live with me here in Studio Q.